Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How y'all doing? Great. Was that a first good day at sea or what? Yeah. How many of you came to my show yesterday? Oh, that's really nice. Gluttons for punishment. This lady here slept in and missed it, and I waited all afternoon for you. But it's very nice you could make it today. And as I said last night at the dinner table, I promised not to make a spectacle out of you today, so just forget I said all that.
I brought my spectacles. That's okay.
You brought your spectacles. Oh, a good one-liner for that. Let me turn on this here. Want to introduce you to my wife and back. That's Janae back there. That's my first wife. Been together 49 years. The reason I'm introducing you to my wife is because she is always playing jokes on me, and I'm always playing jokes on her. Now, my stories before my seminars and during my seminars are all true stories. They're not jokes. So I want to tell you a couple things she's done to me, a couple things I've done to get back at her. Then you won't think it's just me and she has a hard time living with me, because it's the other way around once in a while, guys. For example, when I was growing up, my mom used to make us chocolate pudding with graham crackers and chocolate pudding and graham crackers, layer after layer after layer with whipped cream on the top. And it was delicious. I loved it. So I overheard my wife talking to my mom. I just lost my mom. She was 94. But when she was still alive last year, I overheard Janae talking to my mom on the phone. She's going to surprise me. She's getting the recipe how to make the chocolate pudding thing for me. I haven't had it like in 45 years. So the next day I go in the fridge and there it is in a glass Pyrex thing, chocolate pudding milk. She goes, I made that for you. It's a surprise. I got the recipe from your mom yesterday. Knock yourself out, okay? Well, I went for it. I took it out. I got a quart of milk. I started drinking milk, got a soup spoon, and I just scarfed down probably 3/4 of that thing. Now, about 3 in the morning, I got up and I was sick. I don't need a lot of sugar, but I was really sick. I had horrible cramps. I thought I was going to have to go to emergency. Maybe I had a heart attack or something. And I'm in the bathroom for a while, and Janae, I've got a problem, and she's giggling. 3 in the morning. So what's so funny? I mean, I'm really sick. Guys, for 49 years we've been together. 48 of those years, I have always forgotten April Fool's Day. Guess what she did? She goes, oh, well, it's April Fool's Day, honey. I put 2 boxes, not 2 packages, 2 boxes of X-Lax in the pudding. That's what she did to me. I was sick for 2 days. That isn't nice. That was 2 years ago. Guess who remembered April Fool's Day this last year? Second part. This last year, I was in the grocery store. I almost forgot April Fool's Day, but I glanced and I backed up. When we were dating, she loved Oreo cookies. So they got the double white stuff now. So I bought a package of Oreo cookies. I took them home, and she wasn't home, so I peeled the package open real carefully, and I got one of those vacuum packing machines that'll melt the plastic again. I dumped out about 30 of those cookies, and I broke them apart very carefully. I took out that good white stuff, and I filled them up with Crisco. And I put all the cookies back in, and I shrunk wrap it, and I kind of left it on the counter half out of the bag. Well, she came home and says, what's this crap on the kitchen counter? You can't eat that stuff. It's garbage. I said, it's for you. I saw it in the grocery store. We haven't had it since we were dating. She goes, okay, this one time. And I went upstairs, and I'm watching over the balcony. She ripped that puppy open. She must have eaten 30 of those cookies and didn't say anything. And she's drinking milk. I said, you notice anything about the cookies? She goes, yeah, the white stuff doesn't quite taste the same anymore. I go, I'm pretty easy too, I'll bet. Well, guess what happened 3 o'clock in the morning that night, guys? Guess who remembered April Fool's Day? You're going to hear some much better stories as the cruise progresses here, so don't miss any of my shows. All right, I'm going to introduce myself real quick. A lot of you have been to my shows, a lot of you haven't. We're going to be doing different shows every day that we're at sea, except 2 of them. I'll announce them in a second. You already know my name's Stephen Kukowski. Welcome to the Social Media Show. We're going to be spending the next 45 minutes together. Why? Because you want to, number 1. And number 2, because I'm going to fill you in on what I think you need to know about social media. I'm going to tell you some exciting and funny stories related to social media. And before we start, I just want to point out two things. Don't forget to get your pins. You get a pin for every show of mine you attend. There'll be a lady in back handing out the pins. They're free. Nancy is our marine biologist and our ship naturalist. Don't miss any of Nancy's shows. Look for it in the fun times. She's a great lecturer. She's upstairs usually. Never at the same time as me, so you can catch us both. Look in the fun times every night before a sea day. Look on the front page to see if the Academy of Fun is listed. My shows are all the Academy of Fun. What you will find out, as you did today, I happen to be listed on the front page today only at 9 in the morning. If you go inside and look at the small print, it'll let you know I'm also speaking at 4. So check both places and always check the hub. On the days I lecture 2 times. The other shows I'm going to be doing, yesterday I did digital and cell phone photography, today social media. I believe tomorrow I'm going to be doing my food show. Food from all over the world, different ports. I'm going to be talking about chocolate, honey, beer trucks, microbreweries, all different types of things, organics. You'll really enjoy that show. Towards the end of the cruise, the last 2 lectures I'm going to be doing on the way back, I'm going to be doing 2 of my favorites, and every one is my favorite. You'll hear me say that about all of them. But I'm going to be doing an art show. And I want to point out, when you see Academy of Fun art, don't skip it. I don't work for the art department. It is not going to be an auction. I do the scandalous, risque private lives of all the famous artists we've heard of from late 19th century to mid 20th century. It is a crack up. It is a lot of fun. And then the last lecture I do is going to be the history of celestial navigation. They're going to list it as astronomy, but it's actually a history of celestial navigation from the Egyptians to the pirates, the Vikings, Polynesians, all the way through GPS. So don't miss any of the shows. There's a lot of fun in all of them, and they're I think, very interesting. Enough about that. And one last thing I did mention yesterday. Actually, I didn't mention yesterday. In this show, I'm going to be teaching you some things that you're going to be able to know what your kids and grandkids are doing behind your back, and your husbands too, with social media. All right, now before we start, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself real quick. Everyone always asks about credentials. I do the credential page every lecture because a lot of people haven't been here. People want to know, has the guy been around the block a few times? Is this out of books, or is he involved in everything he lectures about? Take a close look at the screen, guys. That's not a bucket list. My wife, Janae, and I have traveled extensively, third world countries, for over 44 years. We've been all over the world. That's not a bucket list. I lecture all over the United States. I also lecture all over the world for Carnival Cruise Lines. I've been a regular guest on ABC, NBC, the Live Well Network, and for those of you who are hooked on HD TV, I was a designer for 44 and a half years. On the West Coast in California, I did a lot of guest spots on those home decorating programs. Now, I told you I'm going to be doing an art show. What qualifies me to talk about art? I've been collecting fine art and antiques for over 50 years. I have loaned things to museums on both ends of the United States out of my collection. I also own a private museum. I built a museum in Northern California to do fundraisers for Habitat for Humanity. It's not open to the public. It's open to any group that wants to come up and write a check to Habitat, like car clubs on weekends. We'll open it up because the museum is vintage cars, vintage travel trailers, memorabilia. We also open the house. Anyone I meet on a cruise, you're welcome to come. You don't have to write a check, just show up. If you email me, let me know you're going to be in town, you met me on a cruise ship, we'll open it up. We have a picnic area outside. Please come and visit. It's a lot of fun. Excuse me. If any of you want to come, just come and do that. And I forgot to mention one other thing. One other thing that's pretty important, and I've noticed it already, usually later in the cruise. I have a degree. You know what my degree is in? Marriage counseling. So towards the end of the cruise, if anybody needs a little coaching, just come and see me. I'm sitting at the same table every morning. Now this show might have a little bit of adult content. It contains innuendo. It might be a little naughty now and then. No big deal. If that's offensive to you, you might not want to attend the show, but it's a lot of fun. So let's get started with the social media show. Does that look familiar, guys? Of course it does. Meaningful conversation, face to face, just like we have at the dinner table every night. Verbal conversation, that looks familiar. Now, does that look familiar? You bet it does. People our age talk with our mouths. We always have. But the kids today, they talk with their fingers. It's crazy. And a lot of times, they're talking to each other via this here. They don't even open their mouths. Remember that old jingle? Let your fingers do the walking in the yellow pages. Well, today it's let your fingers do the talking. Now, we're all old enough, we've actually used our fingers to do the talking for years, but usually it's just one. That's universal. Many adults have been talking with that finger for 1,000 years. Now today, folks, I'm not only going to tell you about Facebook and a lot of other social media outlets that are available, but when I'm finished, you might just agree with me that this isn't just about enriching our lives with social media. It might be the start of a new social disease, one you can't take penicillin for. So let's get started. We're going to start with Facebook. Now I want you to know there's a lot more intimidating things out there than learning how to use Facebook. If you're not on Facebook because you're afraid and you don't know where to start, I'm going to show you. If you are on Facebook, you may not be aware of all the features that are available to you. I'm going to tell you a lot of those too. It's very easy. Getting started is easy, and learning is a breeze, believe it or not. Just Google the Facebook Help Center, go to facebook.com/help, and it's going to walk you through everything. Any question you have, you just type it in and it'll give you the answer. You go up there on the search bar, it's up there, I got an arrow. Go to the search bar, type in anything, what could be easier? You're going to be amazed at how easy Facebook makes it for you to answer any questions you may even have for me after this. They will answer it much better for you. Now, I don't think I'd buy a book. I wouldn't buy a book, or I wouldn't even go on YouTube, because things in the tech industry and the tech world change instantaneously, almost as fast as they come out. Sometimes today becomes obsolete tomorrow. The page I just showed you is updated every day. So that's where you go for your information, because anything that changes, it's updated instantly. That doesn't happen in a book. Now, privacy is a worry we all have. That's why a lot of people don't use social media. I know a lot of you are afraid to go on social media. A lot of you are afraid to use Facebook because you think all your privacy is going to be gone. Well, I'm here to tell you there's a lot of things you can do to protect your privacy. It's pretty easy, and even if you use Facebook, you're going to be surprised at some of these things. Let's go over a few. If you want privacy, don't give out information. Did you know that when Facebook asks you for your name, you don't have to give them your real name? Remember when we had CB radios? We used the handle so no one would have our name? Do the same thing on Facebook. Make up a name. This lady uses Cat Lady and tells all of her friends what it is. Bingo, no one knows who she is. And here's a good one, especially if you want a little extra love during the year and you want to protect your privacy. When Facebook asks you for your birthday, give them a fake one. Give them a fake birthday. Why would you do that? Well, a couple reasons. You've not only protected more of your privacy, you can celebrate your birthday twice a year. Everyone you don't know is going to wish you happy birthday in the middle of nowhere, and then your real friends are going to wish you happy birthday when it is your birthday. I'm beginning to like this. There's a lot of things you can do here. Now up here, take a look at the screen. That's a picture of your Facebook timeline page. Now the timeline page is a page that all of your friends can see. It's an important page. But you know what? You can even control this page, and a lot of people don't know you can control your timeline page. You can control it so that absolutely nothing gets posted unless you want it there. Once again, it's simple. Just go to the settings. Look at it up on the screen. Go to the settings, you find a little window, and it says, who can add things to my timeline page? Well, you just click, only me. Done deal. What could be easier? Only things you yourself want on that page will show up there. So if you have friends that post things you don't like, you don't have to unfriend them and make them mad at you. Problem solved. And look at that little box. Do you know you can actually hide a post? You can get rid of something you don't want on your timeline page after you've posted it. And a lot of people don't realize that either. You just click where I put the arrow up there on the screen. It says hide. You all have to agree with me, there's nothing more like having a little control or total control of a situation. Well, you're just a few clicks away from total control of your Facebook page. And control is what everyone wants. And if you're still worried about privacy, there's a lot more also. This is a newsfeed page. This is a page that's only shown to you guys. None of your friends can see your newsfeed page. This is the stuff that all of your friends post. It's constantly updating stories and pictures right in the middle of the page. Remember, no one else can see this page. Another reason not to worry so much. And we haven't even come close, and I'm not going to cover any of this, but we haven't even come close to all the security settings. Just go on Facebook and look and see what they are. It's amazing. They have thought about just about everything. Now, peeping Toms are creepy. Look at that guy. I've always thought peeping Toms are creepy, and I'm sure you have too. But you know what? You can choose to be a peeping Tom on Facebook. Not to ship. You'll get in trouble. All right? But on Facebook, you can. Or like me, you can choose to be a lurker. That's the word that's used, a lurker, and not even participate. You can set up an account, do everything right, never post anything to it again, but you can still peep at everything else that everyone else puts on that page. So you can keep up with things. It's called a lurker. Now, one thing that I've heard come up a lot is people worry about, what's going to happen to my Facebook account when I die? All that information. Well, guess what? Facebook has thought about that also. You can actually choose an heir to your Facebook account and do it. They have a legacy contract. Just go there and do it. And here's another great feature. Ever wonder what's going to happen to all the photos, stories, memories if your Facebook account is, God forbid, mistakenly disabled? It's happened to thousands of people in the past, but fear not. What they didn't know, you can go to Archive Facebook. It allows you to save all the content on your account directly onto your computer. So if something happens, everything crashes, bingo, you still got it. So archive your stuff. Now, it's very easy to put videos and photos on your Facebook page, but I have people complain, I can't do it, it's not working, I push the Facebook thing. What most people don't, a lot of newcomers don't realize is you have to register and download the Facebook app on your device in order for it to work. Just because the icon is there doesn't mean it's going to work. Download the app and bingo, act of God. All of a sudden, you can put pictures and videos on your Facebook account. So don't forget to download the app. I'll share a couple stories here of how social media may very well be the new social disease and get you in a little bit of trouble. My wife finally got the message. She put vodka in my water bottle. So all the stories I'm going to tell you right now are related to social media, and they really happened. That's a picture of me and one of my antique cars. It's a 1949 Plymouth Woody and a 1946 teardrop trailer. That's an original teardrop trailer. And teardrop camping trailers are really nice. Got a door on both sides. The back lifts up. There's a full kitchen. And inside, there's a bed this big, 7 feet long. So you can go camping in it. That's a picture of it. This is another picture of my teardrop trailer at a car show recently. Car show I attended without my wife. And guess what? That is not my wife. Now that looks pretty incriminating, doesn't it, guys? Especially since there's a bed in there. My wife thought so too, so let me tell you what happened. I was at this car show, and I'm standing about right here, and the trailer's behind me. And I'm talking about 4 or 5 of my buddies here, and there's classic cars everywhere, and my car and trailer's behind me. And all of a sudden, we're talking, my buddies got their cell phones up, and they're taking pictures. I said, what are you doing? I was just taking a picture of your car and trailer. I said, come on, you've got hundreds of pictures of that. No, we're just getting it. And finally, I turned around, and the door had just swung open, and she just got out. And I go, who's that? And we're wondering the same thing. Click, 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 click. And I go, what are you guys doing? He says, I'm putting it on Facebook so your wife can see it. I said, you brain dead? Who is that? Well, long story short, it was a professional model, and they had hired her to take pictures in cars. And I never shut up. And I guess I was talking to my buddy so long, the photographer was waiting for me to stop, and someone said, I'll just go ahead and do it. Steve won't care. 10 seconds later, my phone rings. It's my wife. Who's that? And my buddies are laughing and starting to walk away. I said, "You're not leaving that quick. You tell my wife who's that." So you got to be careful, guys. Thank goodness they were still there to tell her the truth, or I'd be a soprano here today and you wouldn't be enjoying this talk so much. And if you don't think social media can get any more dangerous than that, it can. You got to be very, very careful. This is a true story. It was in a New Zealand newspaper 2 years ago. Copies were rapidly passed around. It went on Facebook and it went viral. Warning everybody, there are eyes everywhere today. It was early one evening in a pub in New Zealand. Now, across the building, across the street, there's a high-rise office building. The pub was packed with young people after work. And someone noticed a dim light in one of the offices, and lo and behold, there's a young couple having sex right on the desk in the office building. So every guy in there had their cell phone plastered against the front window, taking videos. They posted it on Facebook, and it went viral instantly. Guess who saw it? That guy's wife. Well, and his boss. He no longer works in that office building, and I don't think they're married any longer. But you have to be careful, guys. There are eyes watching you everywhere. Let me take just a second to point out something I think might be a bad consequence of photos never being processed and developed the old-fashioned way. You know, we're talking about pictures yesterday. Social media, nothing gets into photo albums anymore. Today, everything is stored on your computer or Facebook or Instagram, whatever. No hard copies. I love old photos. I use them for research. I use them in my museum. Other museums use them. Because you can take an old photo and it's got a couple standing in front of an old car, for example. You can look at the accessories on the car. You can look at their clothes, their jewelry, their shoes, their socks, their purses. History, right there in front of you, just in one photograph. Correct furniture, decorations. Historians love old photos. Well, future generations are going to be in deep poo-poo because you don't go to antique stores pretty soon and find a lot of old albums. Everything's hidden on everyone's computer. I wonder what's going to happen. Think about that. Now, you know what these guys are? These are called emojis, and there are tons of emojis that you can use. They're used to show emotion. But what most people don't realize, they are very, very specific. Let me repeat that. Very specific. Don't just pick one out because you think it's cute. You may embarrass yourself. You will really embarrass yourself, I guarantee it. Let me give you a couple examples. This emoji is not just a happy face. Look up there. It looks to be a happy face. But that's actually, if you know what it is, showing a very sense of relief over a bad situation. Now, I can't tell the difference between that and just a happy face. Can you tell the difference? Probably not. This emoji is not a face of sadness. You put this in one of your texts or emails, it's an emoji showing a very grumpy, displeased face. That person is going to get the wrong message. This looks just to be winking and smiling, but beware, that's not the case. This is actually a flirting emoji. You put that somewhere you don't want to, you got to be careful. Unwanted messages can be sent. Here's the best example I can give you off the list of these things. Can you tell that this is a sexual emoji? Probably not. Looks just like another happy face for me. I used to send this once in a while, but you see that little upturn in the corner of its mouth that looks so cute? That makes all the difference in the world to someone who knows what these things mean. Ladies, you accidentally send a message and use that emoji, and that guy might just think you're saying, "Come on over, my husband's out of town for a week." Or maybe the message is not to use these things at all. Just to be safe, you can actually Google the emoji dictionary and you're going to be shocked. You may start thinking twice before you use this stuff. Look, they even have a poo emoji. I'm telling you, I'm not sure of why. There's more. There's a poo emoji. There's a poop emoji. There's a smiling poop emoji. Imagine that. There's even a smiling poop emoji with steam and flies going around it. I can think of a few people I'd send that one to, but you try to figure that out. Guess what? Pretty soon you're not going to have to use those at all. Pretty soon you won't have to worry about using emojis because this brilliant geek, her name is Rana, whatever it is, she's developed a new invention for communicating people without seeing each other face to face and being able to read your mood. She's developed an algorithm for it. excuse me, what she's come up with is this. The camera on your phone or your computer, the device you're using, will read your face and it will identify your mood instantly, and it is correct all the time. It's actually in use right now. It'll see the emotion on your face and identify it perfectly and specifically. This is not a joke. Pretty soon, when you're typing a message, the reader will definitely know if you're happy or angry, or if you are really asking him to come over because your husband is out of town for a week. Now, when using social media, there's something called social media etiquette. You've got to be careful. Words to the wise, guys. Don't post photos of your friends dancing drunk at a party on your timeline page. They might not want everybody to see this, like her grandkids, for example. Never put unattractive photos of your teenage grandkids or your kids on the internet, because kids will be kids, and I guarantee you they have a lot worse photos of you that are going to show up. So don't look for payback. Never complain about your work or your husband's work on your timeline page. You never know who's looking, like perhaps an angry boss. It's going to be a surprise for you here. Did you know that in all of the United States, every state except 4, it's perfectly legal for your boss to demand your Facebook password? A lot of people don't realize that. So again, that naked picture of you at the party may be inappropriate. Maybe it'll get you an invite by the boss out to dinner, who just sent your husband to Siberia on an emergency business trip. And a few more words of wisdom here. Never type using all capitals. We're all getting to the age where we use capitals so we can see the thing. Well, guess what? When you type in all capitals, that means you're yelling at somebody. I did that once. I said, "Are you mad at me? Why are you yelling at me?" The power of social media is not just for individuals screwing up. Governments can screw up too. Take a look at this. This is another true story that really happened. This guy here innocently built a fort on its front lawn out of cardboard that his washing machine and dryer came in. This is an actual photo of the fort. Now, some young, new code enforcement officer with his new badge, who felt really big, stops by and he wrote the guy a citation for unsightly trash, demanding it be removed from the front lawn in 15 days. Well, the dad posted it on Facebook and it went viral. Worldwide. People all over the world were enraged. His dad was interviewed on television. People offered to pay the fines. Someone offered to remove it from his yard. The city received threats. The mayor even apologized on TV for it. But before the 15 days were up, there was a bad rainstorm and the whole thing turned into mush. Now I wonder if that same enforcement officer ran over there and wrote him an environmental impact ticket. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now, this privacy and security thing is nothing new. It's been around a long time. Let's talk about security back in the 50s. In the 1950s, my dad used to tell us, study. You got to study, you got to learn things, all right? So he put a contraption on our TV that would prevent the television, because television was relatively new, from turning on certain times in the day so we could do our homework. Well, I did my homework. I was interested in science. And so was my dad. I went in his Popular Mechanics and his Popular Science magazine, and guess what was written up the month before, why he bought that thing? The contraption with the schematic. So I rewired the whole thing. And we watched TV whenever we wanted to. So just because you think you're setting things up so your kids can't see them, be careful. When you're trying to restrict your kids on social media, there are ways to get around it. They may have already bypassed your controls. Be careful. Now, I don't think I've mentioned Facebook profiles yet. Facebook profiles are not verified. You got to be really careful. A guy says he's a movie star or an investment banker or a financial planner, might not be. You got to do your due diligence still. The best you can do is the best you can do. Be careful. Now, here's something else that's so important to think about. I want to mention this too. Make sure your Facebook page is kept for personal things only. Definitely separate from your business. In July of 2015, this guy in Houston, Texas, was thrown in the clink because he wouldn't tell his Facebook password to the new owner of his gun shop that he lost in bankruptcy. The new owner and the judge insisted that he release his Facebook and Twitter account passwords, he wouldn't do it. They were property of the store. He had to do it or stay in jail until he did. Keep your accounts separate. These are things most people don't know, but you can protect yourself. Busybodies. It's a good thing about Facebook. We got one in our neighborhood. When my neighbors are concerned about safety and security in our neighborhood, or you hear a weird noise, you used to use police scanners. Not anymore. You go to this particular nosy neighbor, this little lady has nothing better to do than know what's going on everywhere. You go to her Facebook page, she knows everything that's going on in the neighborhood, and bingo, you can know just like that. Let's talk about texting a little bit. A lot of people don't know how to text, but we're in the 21st century. You got to learn and you got to know how to do it. Sorry for keep drinking that, but it's really good. Texting is super easy, super easy. One of the easiest things you can learn to do on your cell phone. All you have to do is this. You push the phone icon on your home screen, you push the contact button right there, and that wasn't difficult. You're halfway there. You're almost an expert. Then, in your contacts, let's say you want to text Joanne a message, just like emailing. You click on Joanne, her information comes up. You say send message to her mobile phone only. You can only text to a mobile phone. And bingo, when you say send a message, this is a screen that comes up. It's just like your computer screen. You can type your messages, you can erase things, you can change it to numbers, and when you're all done, you hit send, and bingo, it goes. And that you can send back and forth instantly. You can talk to each other without schlepping your computer all over the place. That's pretty simple. Give it a whirl if you haven't done it yet. Now, I've talked about facial recognition and Rana's invention, the algorithm to figure things out. Well, there's also texting recognition. You're going to like this one. You can always tell the age of somebody who's texting just by looking at their fingers. See that? That's someone my age texting. Why? Because it's one finger and they're going peck, 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 peck. That's somebody over 60, 70 years old. Now, here we have someone around 40 years old texting. They use their thumbs. Not only both thumbs, but both hands. That's someone middle-aged texting, around 30, 40 years old. And a teenager texting, one hand, all thumbs, and they're not only texting, they're listening to music, doing their homework, they're Googling, emailing, all at the same time, and you can't even see their thumb because it's going like this here. And a lot of times, they actually have another one here. I see it all the time. So that's texting recognition. These days, you can always tell two people in love, whispering sweet nothings in each other's ears without having to worry about bad breath because they're doing it via texting. On the other hand, two young people having a fight. And just watch people. You can tell when they're texting and having a fight. You save your voice, just type in capital letters. You don't even have to look at each other. Now, I'm sure you all know what an app is. Well, there's now an app out there called WhatsApp. It allows you to text for free and not use up all that stuff on your phone that you pay for, all the data. Download WhatsApp and give it a whirl. Check it out when you get home. It's free. I like that word, free. Now, there's other interesting social media outlets besides Facebook. Real quickly, let's just look at a few of these. How about Twitter? I know in the last 10 months you've heard a lot about Twitter. You're only allowed 140 words per tweet. The unique thing about Twitter is you can follow and comment on any issue with all sorts of strangers, anyone in the country, not just your Facebook friends. You can follow political issues on Twitter, a movie star, anything you choose. You can see other people's tweets, you can add your own opinion. Initially, that's pretty cool. But you got to be extremely careful when you tweet things, as you well know. If you say something wrong or it's interpreted the wrong way, you can get what's called online shaming. And online shaming has actually ruined a lot of people's lives. Some people have lost friends, lost jobs, even worse. People are going into depression using social media. Be careful. For this reason, I don't think I'd even use Twitter or a lot of this stuff. But if you're safe, you're okay. How about Pinterest? I like this one. What is Pinterest? I'll tell you. It's a scrapbook of all the things you like. It's your personal photo album. Users can take pictures from anywhere on the internet or your own pictures and post them on a Pinterest site. The pictures are called pins. So you can pin all your cute pictures on the site for everyone else to see, but you got to be careful here. You can spend the rest of your life looking for and collecting really cool stuff that you like and pinning it up. It can become another addiction, and there is no Pinterest Anonymous, guys. So be careful, don't get hooked. One of the problems with Pinterest and some of these sites is a lot of them have become 2/3 commercial. Never used to be that way, but everyone's got to make a buck. Used to be just regular people like us, if you consider us regular, sharing pictures with each other of things we like. But now you find a cute picture of that little dog wearing that fur coat and you click on it on Pinterest, you're going to get websites of everyone who sells that little fur coat for that dog, advertising. That's what's happening with social media quite a bit. It's used for advertising. Well, since it's free to you to use, that's a small price to pay, I think. Now, eBay's a good one. I love eBay. I've been collecting all my life. I buy and sell a lot of stuff on eBay. But recently, I found another site called Etsy, E-T-S-Y. I have found things on Etsy I couldn't find on eBay. Try it when you get home. It's a wonderful, wonderful site. That's what Etsy looks like, and you can find almost anything on it. Let's go back to eBay for a second. I'm going to tell you a funny story. This actually happened to us. Do y'all know what a white elephant party is? All right, well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you real quick. I'm going to tell you a quick funny story. Every December, with the same group, 20 couples, 40 people, we have a white elephant party at a Chinese restaurant. You have 11 months and 28 days to find the ugliest, most useless thing that you would never give anyone as a gift to wrap up as a Christmas gift. And we all get to the restaurant, we pile them on a table, and we all draw numbers, 40 people. And you get number one, after dinner, you get to pick any present you want. You open it, and it's going to be god-awful, because everyone tries to outdo each other with something awful. Well, you don't want that. Next person picks a straw. If they don't like theirs, if they think this is worse than this, they can trade you. So by, you're into the 35 people change, no one wants anything. And everyone's trying to figure out who's got the worst thing in the world. Well, we forgot last year. I was on a cruise, we got home at the last minute, and we forgot about the white elephant party. So we're going through the closet looking for something horrible to bring. One of my wife's patients years ago, like close to 40 years ago, gave her this belt buckle. And believe me, it is way uglier than that. It's like one of those big cowboy belt buckles. The gold plating is like tin foil. It's got this big phony gold red eye. I don't know what the eye is made out of. And it's got a belt with the guy who made it stamp. It was horrible. I mean, her patient must not have liked her, but she put it in the closet, stayed there 40 years. I told Janae, no one's going to top that thing. That's the ugliest thing I ever saw. We wrapped it, we took it to the party. No one wanted it. It was the number one ugly thing of the night. Well, I drew number 40 that night, last year. So I told the lady sitting next to me, a friend, I said, you know what? Janae hates that thing so much. When I draw the last gift, whoever's got the belt, whatever I draw, I'm going to trade back so Janae's got to take it home again. And I did. And all the way home, she hit me in the ribs. What's the matter with you? Everyone's laughing at us, that stupid, ugly belt, and we wound up taking it home. Aren't you embarrassed? Well, about 3 in the morning, Janae wakes me up. This is true. So was something wrong? She goes, no, but I got to tell you something. Everyone thought the belt and the buckle were so ugly, and someone commented that the guy was so proud of this horrible, ugly thing that he stamped his name in the belt and wrote it in the casting on the back of the buckle. So I went on eBay, I did some research. That guy became a world-famous designer, and he died 2 years ago. I go, really? She goes, yes. Come and look on the computer. On the computer on eBay, sold $850, one of those. I said, those are selling for $850? She goes, they are now because I posted it an hour ago with a buy it now price and someone bought it. $850. So before I shipped it out, I took a really good picture of it, and in a couple months at the White Elephant Party, my gift is going to be a framed picture of that belt buckle with a description of what y'all missed. True story, guys. Let's talk about Snapchat real quick. Snapchat's an app that allows users to send video, text, via email, whatever. And then like magic, they disappear. You don't have to worry. So you thought. That's not true. You see, it was soon discovered that photos, videos, sexting, texting, they don't disappear the way that they told you they do. Everything can be retrieved with just a very little bit of tech knowledge. Eventually, Snapchat admitted that, and they paid a pretty big fine. Now, most users, believe it or not, still think that everything disappears. It's used mainly by 13 to 40-year-olds, often sending funny faces and sexting. And we've all heard what happens when you do sexting. Don't get involved in that. Isn't it amazing all the new words we have because of social media? Sexting, selfies. Sexting is when you send a risque picture of yourself to others on your cell phone. Selfies when you take a picture of yourself and send it. Be careful when you do this. Then there's Snap Kids for kids under 13 years old. They're really hooked on that. Instagram is really cool. Instagram is mentioned all the time. What is it? Well, it's very similar to Facebook. It was actually owned by Facebook. Does all the same things as Facebook, but the main difference is it's used mostly by people under 35 years old. Now, the cool part about this site is your ability to edit photos with different filters to change the look. So you can take very boring photos and make them really, really cool that everyone else would want to look at. Now listen up, parents and grandparents, and there's a lot of grandparents in this room. I hope I'm not confusing you here, but there's another site similar to Facebook. It's called Tumblr. It does all the same stuff as Facebook, and it's used mostly by young kids under 21. And believe me, this is not a site you want your kids and grandkids to be on. Why? Because the bad thing is, it's very easy to access pornography on this site because it's totally open and totally not filtered. Another big danger, all the pages on Tumblr are public. Anyone can see your kids' postings. You don't just pick your friends like you do on Facebook. I can't believe it, but it is one of the top sites. That is very, very scary. So somehow you got to watch your kids, you got to watch your grandkids. And kids are smart these days. Don't be fooled. Kids have always been smart, just like me fiddling with that contraption on the TV. Kids will have a Facebook site for mom, dad, and all their lame friends to look at. So long as mom and dad and grandma and grandpa see they have an innocent Facebook site with innocent postings every day, they think their parents and grandparents are pacified. Well, parents aren't going to think to look for their kid on one of these other sites, and you've got to do that, and other sites such as Tumblr. So do some investigating. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, look to see that Junior isn't getting himself into some trouble. Let's talk about blogging real quick. Blogging is something really cool. It's on YouTube. Blogging can be done by anybody, including you. Blogs are usually videos on YouTube. It's amazing how a lot of young people, a lot of young bloggers have become world famous just by making videos about what interests them and showing it on YouTube. For example, the videos are often done with their computer camera or their cell phone camera right in their own bedroom. Here's some regular kids. Take a look at those kids up there. They're pretty young, making huge amounts of money after being discovered on their blogs, discovered by other kids all over the world and going viral, and they get sponsors. Some of those little kids up there in high school are raking in as much as $650,000 a year and more on their blogs, and some are only 13 years old. They're demonstrating things to other kids like how to apply makeup, how to do your hair, all the latest fashions to wear. Take a close look at those kids. That kooky blonde in the middle, how about $540,000 last year? Michelle Pham, $250,000 a year, and now she's much bigger than that. The background is the wall in her bedroom. I knew I should have had kids. I knew it. Anybody can start writing a blog, but I want you to look up at the screen. Blogs can be on almost any subject, like news, gadgets, photography, advice, all different kinds of things. And I stress, I've told people on these cruises, you can start a blog on what your hobby is. If it goes viral, you'll become rich. Now take a close look at the screen up there, because I met that guy on one of my Carnival cruises who wrote me, and he was not listening very closely. He's very grumpy. He can't understand why nobody's going to listen to him on his blog about lingerie and applying makeup. Gee, I wonder why. You can write them about other things, guys, not just what I mentioned. Then there's dating sites. For years, we did this. It's called courting. It was done like this for millions of years. Now they have speed dating, all different kinds of speed dating. Here, everyone sits at a huge table across from one another. You get 5 minutes to talk to the person across from you. You change seats. You meet someone else. You change seats. If you meet somebody you like to, you exchange phone numbers, and maybe there'll be a match. That's called speed dating. But now there's Tinder. Tinder is a new hot dating app, and it's used all over the world, not just for dating. I'll tell you why in a second. This is how it works. You download the app, then a guy scrolls through his cell phone looking at all these pretty girls' pictures. If he likes a girl, he simply presses the heart. If he doesn't, he presses the X. Well, bingo, when he presses the heart, his picture shows up on hers. Girls can do the same thing. Well, if they both press it, maybe they can meet up. But guys, we're never satisfied with anything with just one girl. So you see guys doing this here on Tinder. Ooh, I like her, I like her, I like her, I like her. Their fingers are going just as fast as those young kids texting. Let me tell you something. If we had this 50 years ago, and I texted a girl and she hearted me back, I'd throw a celebration party. I wouldn't be looking any further. I was not the pick of the litter. I was more like what you picked out of the litter when I was that young. Now, one good thing about Tinder, guys, it's used throughout the world and not just for dating. It's in 30 different languages, and if you're traveling a lot of single people are using it when they go to other countries to meet people their own age and to tour and have a good time. It makes a much more interesting vacation. Tinder's actually a pretty good site. You know what Skype is? Skype is free. Well, Skype is very inexpensive. It's not free. You download the app for free, and for next to nothing, you can make phone calls anywhere in the world on your cell phone, on your computer, and you can talk to your kids and grandkids anywhere. It might save your butt, okay? It saved my butt. We went to Paris a couple years ago. Maybe it was last year. I can't remember. And my ATM card wouldn't work in the first machine I put it in. I tried another machine. It wouldn't work. Now, it used to be I'd have to get on the phone, I'd call back to the United States, listening to someone who didn't speak English, just French. I'd finally get through to them after 15, 20 minutes screwing around on the phone, and then all of a sudden, you get a dial tone. You got to start over again. Now with Skype, you just push the button. I called my banker, and it was fixed in like 2 minutes with Skype. So always have Skype on your phone for a lot of different reasons. Social media can be addicting and time-sucking, and you got to be very, very careful to watch your kids and yourself. In order to avoid it, try to decide on how much time you're going to spend on social media after work, at night, on weekends, whatever. Don't let social media decide how long you're going to be on it. Pick a time of day and stick to that time. And once you do it, again, stick to it. Here's an example of a major addiction or time suck. Professional video gaming. This is huge nowadays, especially with young people and computer geeks. Video gaming is a worldwide spectator sport. In auditoriums like that, successful gamers are earning 7 figures a year just playing games, and they're just young kids. Gamers attract huge, passionate followings if they're good. So if your grandkids are in the bedroom with the door closed all weekend and never coming out, and they're playing games, you better check it out. Make sure they're not becoming addicted to that and letting school and everything go by the wayside. And here's something that really shocked me, and I want to tell you too. You think you can trust all those product reviews when you buy something on Amazon, Facebook, Google, Yelp? I always read the reviews. I always did. Go to buy a camera, go to buy this, go to buy that. Well, guess what? Think again. There are websites like Fiverr, for example. Any business can buy as many 5-star reviews they want for their product. They can also buy as many 1-star reviews as they want for their competitor's product. So you can no longer believe so many of the reviews. Due diligence, that's the best you can do. It's really creepy if you ask me. Now, once again, I'd like to leave you with a controversial question I always do after all of my seminars to discuss over dinner tonight. Hopefully face to face, not like this after this show. What do you think about this new world of social media? Of course, there's many advantages to it. That's obvious. We all use it. But are you willing to give up so much of your privacy even when you can protect a lot of your privacy? Your devices now are tracking you constantly. They're actually recording what you do, what you say. It knows your likes. It knows your dislikes. The GPS on your phone knows where you shop, where you have shopped, knows where you meet your friends, where you work. The camera can see you. There's facial recognition. If it sees a picture of you or someone else, it knows who it is. Your friends and acquaintances are told what you see, what you think. Advertisers are fed information constantly when you Google something. That's how they know what you like, and all those stupid ads show up about what you like. Ladies, if your husband's 90 years old and getting those lingerie ads, take him to a counselor. Now, Google even records every search you've ever made. Even if you accidentally look at a porn site, it knows what you do, it knows what you think. Do you think it's gone a little too far? And it's even going further than that now, guys. So think about it, talk about it. The world is changing rapidly. So I want to ask you something. How did I do? Did y'all enjoy this show?